Greetings, everybody. My name is Siyavuya Mzantsi, and I'm the editor of the Cape Times, a publication that was established 1876 with a sole purpose that was to inform and educate the readers of Cape Town. It has gone to become one of the top newspapers in the country, and we dare say in the world. Over the years, it has transformed from when it largely served white communities, predominantly white communities, and now has slowly but surely got into communities that were previously disadvantaged. I joined the Cape Times in 2013. At the time, I was an intern from the Cape Peninsula University of Technology, and it was when the group that owns the Cape Times, which is the independent group, had been acquired by Sekunjalo. I guess that point was the beginning of the true meaning of transformation, because it had largely been managed and edited by white editors. And then a couple of years later, I became the first Cape Times editor in its 143 years history. And that was quite unprecedented, but also strategic in many ways. One, it was to display that everybody is capable of editing this esteemed newspaper, or anyone, let me put it that way, anyone with skills is capable of editing this esteemed newspaper. By then, the Cape Times had truly transformed, in the true sense of the word, to be reflective of the country's demographics. What do I mean by that? I mean, by then, it had a black editor in the name of, and my predecessor in the name of Anis Savi, who, along with his predecessor, Hassan Tabada, had initiated the transformation project at the Cape Times. That was to include everybody. That was not to say there was an exclusion of anyone. That was to say there was no longer bus or class. We used to make fun of that. To say there's no more bus or class in the Cape Times. We are all equal. And in doing so, we adopted a number of ethos that would drive the transformation agenda. One of those was self-correction, or to self-correct, and was to build each other up and not down. And in doing that, and also to build bridges between and within communities. Starting with the last ethos, it was important that we adopted that approach, mainly because the Cape Times, as I indicated earlier, catered for majority white people at the expense, so to speak, of the majority. It was an injustice that we thought needed to be corrected, and that project is still ongoing. So what I'm trying to say is that it's a project that was not initiated by myself. It was initiated by two editors before me, was solidified by when Anis took over, and I'm just finishing off a project that really was started. Now, in building bridges between and within communities, we say, and bridging the gap between the rich and the poor, we said, what is it that we can do to make sure that this really becomes a reality? One of those was to say, let's give the voice to the people that feel they have no voice in the Cape Times. And one of the most worrying things for me has always been that when you describe yourself from the Cape Times, particularly in people from the Cape Flats and in townships, they look at you in a very odd way, so to speak. So that has always been one of my worries, to say these people feel like they do not form part of this institution. So it only made sense that we adopted that approach to say, let's give the voice to these people. Let's let them allow, or let's let them see that they are part of this institution. And we needed the right people to do that. So if you look, for an example, at our staffing, in fact, 98% of our staffing is female. And most of them are quite in senior positions. 2 of them are news editors, and 1 of them is the assistant editor. And the reporters, of course, are more than entitled to make decisions in terms of our approach and everything else that we do on a daily basis. So everyone in our newsroom is a leader in their own right and can become, the editor anytime the space allows. But going back to what I was saying about our demographics, it was a targeted decision in that we wanted the people that come from these communities to tell the story of what they see every day. And in doing so, that directly, not indirectly, that directly has an impact in how people see us, because now they know the people that tell these stories. The people that tell these stories come from these communities. So they sympathize with the plight of the poor, in this case, the people coming from the townships and from the Cape Flats, and indeed from some of the affluent areas. Because the perception out there has been that we've been ignoring the affluent areas, which is further from the truth. We're now sitting at a point in our country where the media is largely untransformed, and the poor is only the poor's story, the story regarding the majority, largely Black people. Their story is largely told when there are said things to talk about. Yes, that's fine for news purposes, but we go above and beyond that. We celebrate, the Black excellence that exists in our communities. And we are deliberate in doing so, because these are largely people that have for years been marginalized and have never had this kind of support when they finally make a big breakthrough in their respective careers. We go above and beyond by telling stories of people that need assistance in achieving their goals. Some, we've told stories of people wanting to go overseas to further their educations, and the readers have been overwhelming. Their support has been overwhelming in many instances, in that they've really dug deeper into their pockets to make sure that they assist where they can. So we've moved from telling stories only to say, what is it that we can do to better our communities? How can we bridge this inequality gap that exists in our communities? And the approach that we've taken has been paying off. Just for an example, a couple of weeks ago, we did a story on Olympic medalist Luvo Manyonga, whose life has taken an unfortunate downfall following the passing of his mother. That's something a lot of media houses largely ignored, I would say. Purposefully, I'm not sure, but I would say this was not the case when the guy, was at the top of his career. Now that he's at the bottom of his career and lives in Paarl, Mbekweni in Paarl, no one really cares about this national hero. And even the Minister of Sports doesn't even know what's happening about this guy. And it's been truly sad to see such a career going down the drain. And I think we can only do so much to protect, I call him our national hero. We can do so much to protect our national heroes, particularly those coming from disadvantaged communities, because these guys, I would imagine, they are not mentored properly and they're not guided in order for them to succeed at whatever they are doing. So I'm saying we go above and beyond the normal telling of a news story to try and assist where we can, to try to tell the stories of the Gogo in Khayelitsha, the auntie there in Mitchell's Plain and Malenberg, not only when they are going through mourning and grieving, but also when there are opportunities to celebrate their excellence. So our role going forward is really largely going to be, focusing on these kind of stories and continuing with this, social activism, so to speak, because that task cannot be largely, left to government alone. We've learned that lesson, and it cannot be repeated. I guess some of these principles are born out of Mandela's beliefs, so to speak, in that it takes the entire community to build or to create a better future for generations to come. So that is the approach we want to be associated with, and no doubt it goes without saying that we do this with pride and with honor, because once you are serving the public, you must take honor of being entrusted with the kind of information that people are able to give you. So this is an honor that we carry with us of serving, the communities that we live in, and making sure that where we can, we are able to lift each other up during the hour of need for those who need assistance. So that's it. That has been largely the story of the Cape Times. We can go on for days about, the kind of stories that we've been telling since we started with this project. I can tell you that it's a project that has been endorsed by all of our staff, all of our reporters, and largely our photographers as well. So this is a story that we are very proud of, and a story that I think lives to the principle of Ubuntu, because I think that's what largely drives us, is that we put people first. It's never about our egos, about our views or anything. It's about the people that we serve that matter the most to us. So thank you very much for this opportunity for us to talk about our story. We hope that one day we continue and we don't see as much need for these kind of sad stories that we tell on a daily basis, but it can only be done when all of us spend together. So thank you very much once again for this opportunity, and we wish everybody a happy Mandela Day. Thank you very much.